name's Melinda Jilks. I've been playing the violins now for 32 years. I started learning when I was young, as a child, and I learnt classical music to start with, and went many years learning the Suzuki method and then also Amy B. After I'd finished my grading and sort of got to a period in my life after I went through various philharmonic orchestras and different kinds of bands, I felt like there was something still missing. When I moved to Queensland and I resumed teaching the violin here, I didn't have that connection with any groups here. There was nothing, there was no Celtic groups, there was nothing happening here in Brisbane. And I was still travelling to Melbourne and to Tasmania to these groups and coming back feeling so great. But my students were getting that at school. They were getting that in what we were having, as we called our fiddle club, after school. But there was members of the community that were coming to me saying, why can't we have something in the community? They were actually telling me that when they watched me play, they could feel the excitement, they could feel that adrenaline, and they loved that and they wanted to be part of that. So that's partly why I started the Moreton Celtic Fiddle Club. And I had the full support of my parents at school. And since we started with 12 members. This was 2 years ago. We now have over 63 members, and we've had to move to a larger building. I have this policy of inclusion and not exclusion. I feel that everybody should have the right to express their creativity through their music if they love the violin, the viola, the cello, the bagpipes, tin whistle, recorder, guitar. It doesn't matter. If you've got that want and that desire to be able to play, then you can. And so I think that's what's created the vibrance in our group. It's just that everybody feels so good to be there. The club have performed at quite a lot of different venues. We've performed for school fetes, we've performed for church functions, different denominations of churches. We've just recently performed at Tartan Day at South Bank, Celtic weekends and afternoons. And also some of the students perform in their competition they hold once a year, playing bluegrass fiddle. So we don't always just stick to the traditional Irish or Scottish fiddle. When we call fiddle, well, it could be a little bit of bluegrass as well. Of course, I'd love to see the club grow and to go on to better things, and a great goal would be for us to eventually be able to do a professional recording or even to do a few tours. And again, but I really think that everybody in the club has to realise that they've got to be motivated and have that feeling in that music first. And once they've got that commitment and that love for what they're doing, it will grow. It will grow, and we will get to where we want to go without even having to reach a point where we say, let's plan for next year to do this. It will just happen because everyone will feel motivated, and it will drive us up to that point. Part of the membership with the club is that you get this book of tunes. So you've got the whole year to look at the tunes and to learn them. Now the aim now of the club is we've gone beyond just reading the music when we come to club and when we perform, and we're actually playing without the notes. And when you're not looking at the notes on a music stand, you've actually got more time to think about the tune and to put that feeling and that emotion into it. So we don't discourage anyone from having the notes in front of them if they really feel they need to have them there. But, it's really good that you can aim to, see how far you can push your own boundaries as far as learning the tunes. Recently started, we've actually gone into the chamber group. We found that a lot of the students and some of the adults were actually asking whether there was another group that we could start. They were actually wanting to do Fiddle Club every Friday night because they were wanting to have that communication, I guess, with other musicians on a more regular basis. And I just felt that it would just be a little bit too much bringing community people together so much. So we decided on the third Friday of each month we would have a chamber music group where we run the same setup where we have a book that I have produced and members come along and we learn the tunes from the book. Now, chamber groups going into more lighter classical pieces. In our chamber group we have violin ones, violins two, viola and the cellos. We would like to welcome any recorders into the group as well, but we don't specifically want to sort of go away from that group of stringed instruments because chamber group is basically your string family as far as your violins. But yeah, we rehearse at the John Norman Hall on the third Friday of the month from 6 till 9 p.m. as well. And again, we're also preparing for different performances with the chamber group. We've done some weddings and we're also hoping to sort of get into a few more areas where there's medieval festivals and days with our performing with that group as well. In the chamber group we also have a uniform we like to wear with that, so we dress in the period costume to suit the music we're playing from, which makes it lovely. When you're performing, you really, again, you feel part of that music, and of course you've got that feeling and that passion from what you're doing if you're stepping back in time and being part of the music, not just playing it.
Moreton Celtic Fiddle Club.